he had to leave his heart on Earth, knowing he might never return. He knew that what awaited him in space were many dangers, an unforgiving environment, and a one-way ticket to certain death. But he still left Earth with the promise that he'd be back. But when he returned, he found her gone. Where did she go? And what happened to her? This is the story of an astronaut who left his heart on Earth. It all started in the 1960s during the space race between the USA and the USSR. The competition was fierce, and both sides were willing to risk anything to come out on top. Back then, space travel was still very dangerous, and the chances of an astronaut surviving their mission were slim. Nevertheless, thousands of people from around the world wanted to become astronauts and brave the dangers of space. Among them was a young man named Ivan. Ivan was a Russian cosmonaut who had always dreamed of exploring space. Despite the risks involved, he was determined to make his dream a reality. In 1967, he finally got his chance. The Soviet space program selected him to be part of a mission to the moon. He would be one of the first humans to set foot on the lunar surface. As you can imagine, Ivan was overjoyed. He knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he was not going to waste it. But before leaving for space, there was something he had to do. He had to say goodbye to his loved ones and let them know that he might never return. One of the most difficult goodbyes was to his girlfriend, Elena! The two had been together for several years, and they had plans for the future. But Ivan's mission to the moon would keep him away from Earth for months, and there was no guarantee that he would come back alive. Still, he had to go. It was his dream to explore space, and he was unable to let anything stand in his way. As he hugged Elena goodbye, he promised her that he would come back to her. No matter what happened, he would find a way home. Those words echoed in Elena's ears as she watched the rocket carrying Ivan away. She knew that he was right, but that didn't make it any easier. For the next few weeks, Elena waited anxiously for news of Ivan's mission. Every time the radio crackled with static, she hoped that it was him coming home. But it never was. Months turned into years, and still there was no sign of Ivan. Elena began to lose hope. She thought that maybe he was right, and that she should move on with her life. But she couldn't help but wonder what had happened to him. Had he made it home safely, or was he lost in space forever? Finally, the day came when Elena received some news about Ivan. A rescue mission had been launched to find him and bring him home. Hope surged through Elena as she listened to the radio. Maybe Ivan was still alive. Maybe he would come back to her after all. Meanwhile, Ivan was struggling to survive in space. His food and water supplies were dwindling, and he was starting to feel the effects of the unforgiving environment. But he kept going. He had to. He had promised Elena that he would come back to her, and no matter how difficult things got, he never broke that promise. When the rescue mission arrived, Ivan was close to death. But the rescuers brought him back to Earth. As he lay in the hospital bed recovering, he thought about Elena. But when he finally got back to Earth, he soon realized that Elena was no longer there. She had moved on with her life, and he was just a stranger to her now. Devastated by the news, Ivan decided to honor Elena's memory by pursuing his dream of exploring space. He became one of the most renowned astronauts of his time, traveling to the moon and beyond. But no matter where he went, he knew that a part of him would always remain on Earth, just like the heart he left behind. All of this is eerily similar to the story of Yuri Gagarin, the first human in space. On April 12, 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human to journey into space. Sent into orbit by the Soviet Union, Gagarin completed one full orbit of the Earth in the spacecraft Vostok 1. During his time in space, he experienced weightlessness and saw the curvature of the Earth, which had never been seen by human eyes before. After his successful return, Gagarin became a national hero in the Soviet Union and around the world. But despite his fame and glory, Gagarin never forgot the woman he left behind. Before launching into space, he had been in a relationship with a woman named Valentina. They had been together for several years, and he had promised her that he would come back to her, but he knew that there was a chance he might not. As the rocket carrying him into space, Yuri thought about Valentina. He knew that if he didn't return, she would never know what happened to him. That's why he made sure to leave a note for her before he left Earth. In the note, He wrote, "If you are hearing this, it means I have not returned. Please, take care of my family." He then signed it with a heart and the date as the rocket lifted off and Yuri was sent into space. He hoped that his note would never be read. He had faith that he would return to Earth safely and be reunited with Valentina. But in the event that he didn't, he wanted her to know that he loved her and that he would never forget her. Unfortunately, Yuri's worst fears were realized and he never returned home. The spacecraft Vostok 1 had malfunctioned and he had been lost in space. When the Soviets finally recovered his body, they found the note in his pocket. Valentina never forgot Yuri. She kept the note with her until her death. It's a heartbreaking story, but it's also a reminder of the courage and determination of those who explore space. These brave men and women leave their loved ones behind, knowing that they may never see them again. But they do it anyway because they're driven by a thirst for knowledge and discovery. Yuri Gagarin's story is especially inspiring because he was the first human to ever venture into space. He didn't know what to expect when he boarded the Vostok 1, but he was still willing to take the risk. He was a true pioneer, and his bravery paved the way for future generations of astronauts. Of course, not all stories have happy endings. Some astronauts have been lost in space forever. Because of their bravery, we've been able to learn more about the universe than we ever thought possible. So the next time you look up at the stars, remember the brave astronauts who have ventured into the great beyond. They may be gone, but their legacy will never be forgotten. So, what do you think about this touching story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you won't miss any new videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time!